getting darker and darker, and there's just no way right now for these drivers to know exactly what's going to happen.
These guys are going to have to be really, really careful and tiptoe around the track until it's either not even 10 minutes into this race, and I feel like we've got enough strategy going on for a whole event, but still a long, long way to go.
There's Yellowstone, there's Yosemite, but for racing fans and for Grid Life's Elkhart Classic, the destination is Road America, the National Park of Speed. Free ride in the front of the field here. Look at Emil tab up the inside for the race lead. We head down to the first corner.
And these guys have no idea what they're coming into. Look at this field. They're 2 wide, 3 wide, a couple places slipping.
Side by side for the race lead. 54, 48 through 3 and 4. Working lap number 60, 110 laps to go. Yusuf Ghali power move to the bottom of the racetrack, making the short way work. They're going to touch down the hill.
This will be a great run for Fuller here.
Yes, if we go right off the track in the final quarter, that'll have Fuller get a massive.
Here he comes.
Does he have a look?
Oh, big block here by Sanfilippo. Into the grass goes Ben Fuller toward turn 1, and Sanfilippo hangs on. He's loose. No! And he crashes hard in the exit of turn number 2. Don't try him here, boys. They're going to do it. Grisco backs out. They touch. They're going to crash. Grisco going to slam the attenuator hard into the wall, and Jared Tesson hits him as well. That's big damage on these cars. That's huge.
Number 4, people are struggling for grip, going out of every single lane, even trying to make a run. It's getting really insane.
Powered by AWS for the Intercontinental GT Challenge, powered by Pirelli at the Indianapolis 8-hour. We are 7 hours and 18 minutes into this 8-hour event.
John Miller way deep on the brakes to the inside of turn number 1 and 2. The spin, the 3 car gets turned around in the front of the car.
James Houghton looking for a place to go, but he's got Austin Cobb to the inside. A bit of a gap behind. I think that's about 15th or 16th spot as they come out of turn 3. Big slide for this.
Getting a run. He's got it. Going to be a drag racing line. Final quarter. Checkered flag waving. Here they come. At Virginia National Raceway. To the line. Thompson, Darling, door to door. Banging doors. Fender to fender. I can't believe what we just saw.
In real life, the WEC put the 24 Hours of Le Mans at the tail end of their season. Why? Because it's the one of the most prestigious racing events in the entire world. Well, the folks here at SCRS have done a fairly similar thing. We're not running 24 hours, but we're taking 1 hour here at Circuit de la Sarthe for the final round of the SCRS LazyRocket Prototype Challenge. My name is Finn Kuna here with Eric Mickey, and as we saw with a fairly close Super Trofeo battle, I think we're going to be in for a fairly special treat with a fairly close battle in both the Prototype Challenge Championships.
Yeah, we have kind of the Kyle Lamb situation, I think, in both of these point battle for the Pro and the Am Cup championships here, with a pretty decent points gap separating the top 2, but as we just saw, who knows what's going to happen and unfold over now. This race is going to be a full 60 minutes, and where drivers may end up and where the points may lie. So you can't give up, you got to go. If you're trailing Carter Cunningham or trailing Paul Darling for the overall championship, or Ryan Ford trailing Corey Bunch in the Am Cup Championship, you've got to go try everything you can to get the best finish and best chance at taking home the championship as you can.
Yeah, taking a look at the championship standings coming in, Darling, Carter, Cunningham, the gap 23 points separating them into this round, and again, that might not seem fairly close, but with double points at stake, these guys have a much bigger shot at getting this event done, and that's the big thing too. We don't have 2 races for tonight, just one single race, but extended time, hence the double points. So it's going to be for a lot of marbles for these guys underway, and that's just going to mean that they're going to make a lot less mistakes. And also taking a look at the battle there, the 93 Corey Bunch and the 74 Ryan Plord also fairly close together in the Am Cup standings.
So, tech question for you, Finian. Can you share your stream?
Oh, yes, perfect, yes. That would definitely help if you can see what I'm looking at.
Otherwise, we're not going to be talking about the same thing.
But yeah, these guys coming down to it. I should take you down to the grid. These drivers already getting ready to go underway. No qualifying for this event. The driver is set by points in reverse order as the pace car is about to roll underway. So points leaders scheduled to start back in 16th. And that would be Paul Darling all the way back there, our points leader coming into tonight. I'll quickly actually take a run through your starting grid here. Starting on pole, it's Brian Schabelsky and Anthony Montello up in the front of the field. Schabelsky actually starting in the front row in both the Super Trail and this race. Drew Lidke and Jackson Robillard sitting in third and fourth. Ryan Caldwell in fifth. Dominic Dornberg in sixth. Colin Daner in eighth. Ryan Plort in ninth. Or sorry, Ryan Plort in eighth.
And in ninth place, Derek Roosevelt. 10th place, Thunder Thimble. God damn it. Thunder Thimble of Corey Buncher, AM Cup Championship leader. Chris Hudson in, where was I? 11th place, and Noah Islam in 12th.
Back in 13th, we find Cy Andrew with DJ Alessandrini in 14th. Carter Kundinger in 15th with Paul Darling in 16th. Kyle Lamb in 17th with Eric Brown 18th. Sarah Chatham in 19th. Mitch Welker rounding out your top 20. In the final two rows of drivers, Nicholas Morelli in the 095. Cameron Delve in 042. Matt Waldblum in the 90. And Mike Hurley rounding out your field. We have 24 drivers scheduled to take the start of this race as we slowly work our way to the Ford chicanes. Again, an hour on the clock for these drivers, and you're going to be glad they're not going to have to go a whole 24 going hours, but still an hour on the clock. It's effectively a sprint race here at Le Mans. It's a long race for these drivers yet ahead.
Yeah, very different to what they've been doing all season long, but as we saw, it didn't make the Super Trofeo race any less interesting. Hopefully these guys have these cars under control and can have a good hour-long race here, as we expect to see drafting be just as big of an issue, and a faster paced race as well, with these cars being so much faster, about 30 seconds quicker, if not more than that, than the Lamborghinis were. As they come through the Ford chicanes to take the green flag, here they come to cross the start-finish line to get this finale underway.
Indeed, field roaring past the start-finish straight, and we are green here at Le Mans. Hour on hand as we got almost 3 wide working for the lead. There's Montello trying to work to the outside to take the lead. Also Jackson Robillard in third. Oh, and it looks like Schabelsky's going to miss the chicane, and Montello breaks his way on through. Robillard and Lidke will as well.
It looks like Ford was the one who went completely wide into the gravel and completely screwed up the first chicane and causing a big problem there. That's going to probably kill his chances at overtaking Corey Bunch in the AM Cup Championship if they... and the wreck between Chris Hudson.
Oh, yeah, Chris Hudson out and
I'm
off
not sure
the
who
track.
got into it.
And I think that's Mitch Welker to the right of him. Oh, yeah, and he just came on to Mitch Welker. Welker couldn't go anywhere but pretty much into the grass, so he held his line. Yeah, and Chris Hudson going to be turned around. Looking back up in front, Montello, Robillard, Lidke, Caldwell, and Colin Daner, your top 5. Taking a look at where our points leaders are at. Paul Darling
around 155, around in one of the chicanes.
Oh, and that's going to be big again with the double points on the line. You can't afford mistakes or to be caught up in any issues. And we'll take a look at what happened to Darling on the initial look. Looked like he might have just gone around by himself. Oh, almost got rear-ended by one car. Oh, hit his teammate.
Like he drove into his teammate.
Yeah.
Everyone checked up there through the chicane. This is not the start I expected. You have an hour to get this race done and get the positions you need, and everyone is racing like there's only a 15-minute race.
Everyone's racing like it's one lap.
I'm not really sure, but should have been a cleaner opening to this race given the extended race time.
Yeah, we'll see everyone flying for the positions while everyone's still close together. Here comes Montello trying to take the lead back from Robillard. It's Ams in the top 4 as you expect with the invert. But some very strong drivers up near the front. Also DJ Alessandrini working his way briskly through the field, starting 14th, already up into 5th. Got Derek Rollville, Colin Daner, and Cy Andrew in behind him. So,
just to kind of catch my breath, I've personally been dealing with a lot between Super Trofeo races and this one. So just to kind of set things straight, I'm not sure if we got to it when covering the starting grid, but just like the Super Trofeo race, this race was gridded based on championship drivers' standings, and the top 16 positions were inverted. That's normally the number of positions inverted for race 2 on our normal 2-race format weeks.
Oh. Yeah, I did get a chance to just briefly mention that, but definitely had to scream through it. Montello also had a bit of an issue after Indianapolis got a little bit sideways. He's back in the 3rd. Robillard and Lidke, these top 3 are absolutely going at it here. Guys, it's still 17 laps left to go as Robillard works his way on through as they enter the Porsche curves.
absolutely hectic start to this race. Once again, not sure why they don't need to be driving the way they are, but they are just going for it. Last race of the season, and it seems like everyone's ready to just get it done as quickly as possible. But guys, the 60 minutes won't go quicker if you try harder.
Yeah, they're going to try nonetheless here as this field snakes their way on through, finally heading towards the Ford chicane to complete their first lap of the event. It's going to be Jackson Roblard in the lead. Whoa, a little bit sideways though. I'm going to take a little bit of gravel with him as well as he completes lap number 1. You can see the field all still very nice and close together for the most part. Caldwell now trying to make a move on Montello. Going to have a look up the inside. Actually not going to get the chance to, as Montello's going to go defensive now. He's going to be on the inside entering during the chicane. 24 car really looking interested in seeing how he can do when he's given the position. He's usually been able to perform fairly well. He's had some issues, I think, with the consistency. I think is probably the biggest problem for Montello, but so far so good up in the top 3.
Yeah, and just to tease some stuff still to come, we have an update on what the situation is in our Super Trofeo Am Cup Championship, as things changed once again after the checkered flag had fallen to change the results there. We'll get to explaining that when things calm down a little bit, as well as announcing our season 2 of 2021 plans here for the Sim Championship Racing Series.
Yeah, lovely have the time to work through that, but now's not the time as we got DJ El Serenity carving his way up through the order, up into 4th place now, just ahead of Ryan Caldwell, who's able to make the pass on. There's a bunch of all these guys up together, and there you see Roble going defensive. He's got Cy Andra giving him a shove down the Mulsaw Straight.
Yeah, the Cy Andra was one of those utilizing the bump drafting at Monza to really make up a lot of ground. He was doing that with his teammate. Here it looks like he's utilizing the same strategy to try to take advantage of the extra speed gain, but the officials have warned the field that if you do bump drafting and it works out, everything's cool, but if you do it and it goes wrong, you're going to have severe consequences for it.
Yeah, that's the thing, is really when it goes wrong. I would say these guys, it's a lot less chance of going wrong. In GT3 cars, you typically have a lot of curved edges. These cars relatively flat up in the front. That being said, though, it is, if you're not being careful, you definitely can hit someone as you see a cone get absolutely murdered as the field comes flying on through. Definitely want to be careful and make sure you don't send someone flying into the Armco at 200 miles an hour. The field all nice and orderly for the most part after that first lap, but things look so good. Settle down just a little bit.
I'm hoping so.
For your sake, I'm hoping so. As the admin for this series, Andrew and Eric have been doing a phenomenal job. You see, DJ
going wide.
DJ goes wide into the sand trap. First mistake we've seen him make there tonight.
Looks like somebody else is around and sideways in the gravel at the same place.
I think it's Sarah Tesson. We'll take a look at what happened to her. This is taking a look at DJ riding on board. Just a little bit too hot in these cars. I imagine they're running the low downforce trim, so not a lot of grip to work with. And then taking a look at what happened to Sarah Tesson. A little bit further back. She also had a little bit of a adventure through the grass, or gravel I should say. Up and around, she went slow, meandering spin. Back into 18th for Tesson. But so far, these AM drivers up in front making, trying to break away from the rest of the pack. Rollard, Lidke, Montello still sitting in 3rd. Caldwell, the next potential victim for now Roveld in behind after DJ fell a few spots. Ooh, and actually up ahead, change for position, Jackson Roblar. He's going to fall back to 2nd. Lidke taking the lead.
Sorry about my quietness here. Still dealing with some admin duties here as I'm trying to do double duty broadcasting and taking care of admin stuff, making sure things are working well and going as smoothly as possible on our end of things.
Oh!
What'd I miss?
Maxon's in the pits for some reason. Oh, okay. So I'm flashing a little bit. Oh, he went off to the side. I went to the camera angle expecting to come just over the track, but I didn't expect to see him in the barrier.
Happened? Did he must have just missed it big time, I guess.
Yeah, he didn't hit he didn't hit the barriers too hard, but I think just frustration is gonna call it a night, or at
So
least
you
call
got
it a race.
three and drivers, Lidke, Montello, and Caldwell up in the front. I'll do my best to keep up with the championship scenarios throughout the next 50 minutes, and both the AM Cup and the overall, and give you updates on how those are looking.
Yeah, we got the blue car parade here. Robald, Carter Cundinger, Cy Andrew. We need Paul Darling in the mix to really bring all the blue cars together and really make this indistinguishable. Got AOD
Of course, they've
Blue.
got to be running around each other.
You got AOD Blue in the mix, as well as I keep forgetting their name. You'd think I would know it.
Satellite Racing.
Revo Satellite Racing, there we go.
Yeah, I don't think we've even talked about the team championships. I don't even know where those stand right now. I can tell you that much.
I can show you a graphic, take a look at it. I'm not sure if you have the time to take a look at it, but overall, looks like Revo Satellites essentially claimed it. I'm not too surprised by that. They got a 100-point lead, over a 100-point lead over AOD Racing Blue, who's actually still racing on the track, ironically enough. For the AM Cup team standings, Burnout Racing is just about 16 points, 15 points ahead of Wichita SCCA.
Is that a typo? It should be Wichita.
Ah, okay. Oh, I think I did. I think I just can't pronounce it right. I think he's part. He's usually the problem with me.
Sometimes. You're only part-timer now. You gotta get
I don't think Cal got me the slack. I see Carter Cundinger. He works his way up into third place past Caldwell. Cy Andrew waiting for his opportunity to get on past as well. Well, back into sixth.
Colin Daner turned by Waldbaum.
And I think Kyle Lamb getting involved in as well. This is entering Indianapolis. Has been Calamity Corner tonight. Oh yeah, he got cleared out by someone. I think, yeah, as you mentioned, that was Waldbaum.
That was just a lot of bad moves, bad decisions. Tries to lock up, isn't able to do it, and then just forces himself to get run into from behind.
Yeah, and he gets hit by Kyle Lamb. So 3 cars damaged decently out of Indianapolis. A lot of trouble there in the Lamborghinis, and looking like it's going to be a similar story for prototypes. As you look back up towards the front, as Caldwell trying to get back at Cyandra for that 4th place spot, is not able to on this occasion, but still in tow, as Carter Cundinger now trying to chase down Anthony Montello and Drew Lidke up in front.
So Carter Cundinger up to 3rd as I go through, and I'm trying to figure out what points may be looking like right now with the way things are headed.
Yeah, this is taking a look again. Carter Cundinger in 2nd, however, running in 3rd. Paul Darling all the way. Paul Darling coming in the leader, but all the way back in 9th. And I would imagine if they're not swapped around, they're awfully close to being swapped around. And also should mention too, no drop races being taken into account. All the drop races were counted prior, so this is full out. All the points are going to count for this, and these guys are not going to drop another lowest race. So the points are going to be as they stand, coming in and as they're earned. So
not to get too excited right now, but right now Carter Cundinger would be your champion.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised, but I'm curious what the gap is, because I can't imagine it's by too much. It's a pretty decent margin.
He would have it by 1 point in these finishing positions, but as we're seeing, there's still 14 laps to go, still a long ways to go. I don't expect Paul Darling to finish in 9th, so we'll see.
We'll have to see. Carter Cundinger, he's going to climb his way up into 1st, and I was doing some quick math earlier, and if Carter Cundinger ends up winning this race, Paul Darling would have to finish 4th or worse. Sorry, 5th or worse.
Yeah, he would have to finish 5th or worse, so that would make it easiest on us if Carter can just get to the front. So that's going to be who I'm rooting for, even though I'm supposed to stay neutral here.
I say it should be neutral all the time, but yeah, you can always have bias. And also, Ryan Caldwell making a mistake in the 2nd chicane. Looks like he just missed it on entry. I think it was stuck up in behind. I think it was riding in behind Mitch Welker. Ooh, almost ran into him. Decided to take the long way around. So he'll be back there. There's Paul Darling, who has found Detail Sandrini. So they're running nose to tail 8th and 9th. As Darling tries now to claw his way back up the order, he is 10 seconds back from the leader. DJ 11 seconds back. So these guys still got a ways to go so they can get close to the front of the field, and some serious competition up in the front. So I think as far as the race win, should something catastrophic happen to the front few drivers, I think Darling's going to be out of it in a matter. I think now it's damage limitation. He looked a little bit sideways there through Indianapolis, and the car was sideways. I see some, I see a puff of smoke. Not sure who the victim was. Oh, I think was it Carter Kundinger. Okay, thought I saw a puff of smoke. Thought maybe Carter didn't lose the spot to Andrew that way, but Andrew just got around. It looks like he's actually starting to drive away.
Yeah, so the three closest rivals to Corey Bunch for the AM Cup Championship have all struggled. They're all behind Corey right now. Corey's sitting pretty for that as far as that goes. Unless something happens to him, we really shouldn't have to check back in on that one for the rest of the race. He comes home with a solid finish, and he's going to have that AM Cup Championship.
The unfortunate thing is that doesn't show this is Thunder Thimble the second. This is his offspring.
I mean, that's some quick aging. Like, that's the opposite of Benjamin Button syndrome going on right there.
It's like the Clone Wars, accelerated
Darling
aging.
off again. He got to slow down.
Take a look at what happened to Darling. This has not been his night. This is heading towards the Fort Chicanes here. Is trying to make a move on the inside. It's Ryan Caldwell. Went flying on through. Wow, amazing in a loop. He came in there charging. Had to give up some time. Oh, and he went flying over the curve to get the car bouncing. As we went back live to him, he's now working on Mo Islam, teammate to Caldwell. He's still having to go time.
He gets a course cutting penalty for sliding as far out as he did across the white lines, and yeah, he was the one driver of the ones that we talk about every week who was not really all that concerned about coming into this race with the track limits and everything. But he's eating up his race right now. As you see Kundinger going around Syandra.
And Carter Kundinger using the draft to his advantage to move himself up one spot between these two. I'm surprised they actually have not got to Montello yet. Thought they were going to get to him and at least battle with him, and he started to break away. Actually, here comes Mitch Welker. Welker back in the mix. He's taking some time off in the series. Started only back in 20th. Remember, we were sorted out by qualifying position was sorted out by points, so he was all the way back in 20th after not starting the last few races. But he's back and on a charge up in the top 5, potentially looking at a top 3 here if he can catch these guys up ahead.
Yeah, good to see Mitch back out there. He's come out for the last couple of races, I think, really picking and choosing the races he participated in. He's got a lot of work going on Wednesday nights with their IndyCar fixed setup series. So check out Mitch Welker and get in contact with him if you're interested in fixed setup IndyCar racing action on Wednesday nights. He's been running that show over there, so that's kind of taken a little bit of his attention away from Thursday nights, but that's all well and good. Is the more the merrier for as far as we're concerned on the types of racing out there for iRacers.
Yeah, and also you can definitely want to take part of this. You also join this series too, although they're not going to be running these cars in next season. I think it's a great segue into this. I want to wait for this battle to subside because Carter Kundinger's all over the back of Syandra.
Yeah, and this is interesting because Syandra, being a teammate to Paul Darling, could play the spoiler for Carter Kundinger if Darling does continue.
Oh, check up and then a check up again. Domino effect. After this complex of corners has caused a lot of mayhem. So you can see this is not really on purpose, but Syandra just got on the brakes really early. Carter Kundinger had a break, and Mitch Welker, I'll take another review from him because I'm sure he had a bit of a heart stopper here. Whew. So he's going to continue on a little bit further behind, but should be able to make up that lost time. On lap 5 of 17, estimated 42 minutes remaining in this race. I always find it interesting is considering how relatively low the lap count is, considering how long the lap times here. It definitely is worse than the Nürburgring. I think if it was the Nürburgring, it would have been 5 laps to complete 40 minutes. But just shows you how long the lap times are here at Le Mans. And even between the prototypes and the Lamborghinis that we ran earlier, the Lamborghinis are running just about 4-minute flats around here, 4-minute ones, 4-minute twos. These guys running just over 3.5 minutes, 3:33s, 3:34s in that range. So about half a minute quicker around the circuit.
Yeah, huge difference between those two cars as Alessandrini lets Paul Darling go.
Actually surprised that the Darling not only caught up, but they able to get past Alessandrini here. Take a look at the replay here. But Darling almost cut the corner again. He's been really flirting with track limits. You see DJ letting him on by. These guys have been losing some time. Last time we checked in on them, they were about 10 seconds back from the leaders. Now they're 11 and 12 seconds back. You see Mitch Welker. He's flown on through Carter Kundinger. Now going to set his sights as they've been slowly reeling in Montello, who's been enjoying a nice solid run in second place for this race.
And important to note, I think we're only a lap or two away maybe from pit stops happening. I don't think that we're going to get away with only one pit stop in this race. These guys should definitely have to do two.
Yeah, they would have to go 8 or 9 laps in order to make it, and we're going to be far from it if that's the case. So let's see what these guys got planned. Whoa, is that... Oh, that's Lidke. Lidke, our leader, spun out in the second chicane. And after having he was looking like he had a really solid shot of winning the race had he kept his speed up.
Oh, that was the replay of Lidke.
Yeah, looking at it right now. Just caught the
Just
curb.
get on the
sideways.
curbing, hit the gas, and hit the curbing just the wrong way, and that'll send you around as Anthony Montello inherits the lead over Mitch Welker, Carter Kundinger, and Syandra.
Yeah, you can hear the revs jump. The car was mounted up unsettled, and around he went. So, Drulicki back into 5th place, and Anthony Montello up in the lead. And I want to say it's the first time we've seen this 24 up in front. He's been close on a few occasions. I think it's the first time we've seen him in the lead. Not in the middle of a pit stop sequence. Let's see if he's got what it takes here to at least lead a lap. Oh, he's got thank you on the rear wing. How nice. For those of you that don't know, Anthony Montello, bring the sponsor of LazyRocket on board for this series. Not sure that's related to that. I'm going to assume that's related to that.
Yeah, I want to give a big shout out to Anthony Montello for sponsoring the series this week, or this season, completely paid for the broadcasting fees and all that, and to get LazyRocket vinyl designs on the as the series sponsor. So check out them for any vinyl design needs that you have. We've got products from them ourselves, and very good quality, done very, very nicely, and yeah, he'll take care of any needs that you got as far as vinyl designs go. So check out LazyRocket for that, and just again, big shout out to Anthony and LazyRocket for sponsoring both series this season.
Oh, Montello, he's not even going to lead a lap. He's going to come down to pit lane.
A little bit of I think a strategy move there, because he had the train of 3 cars behind him. If they all started to try to get by him this lap, it could cost him a lot more time than just coming to pit lane and getting it out of the way.
Yeah, so interesting call there. We'll see if it plays out for him. He's still very much in the running. He's been showing some decent speed. Here we got Mitch Welker, Carter Kundinger, Syandra, a battle for the lead. He's got 2 of the blue cars teammates, or sorry, not teammates, just similar paint schemes. Both their teammates a little further down the order. Rovo teammate to Carter Kundinger in 6th, and Paul Darling trying to find where he is.
He's moved up to 5th right now.
I'm sorry, Paul. I was expecting to see him lower down the order.
No, he was running 9th, running 5th right now, I think, due to the pit stops happening. But here's what I'm talking about with Anthony Montello's decision to pit that time. The side-by-side action that Syandra and Carter Kundinger had slowed them down a bit, and that could hurt them when cycling around if Montello is able to get a good in and out lap.
Yeah, so we got a few guys down on pit lane, so they're getting the first drivers to make their stops. So I expect to see a decent amount of field, if not most of the field, come down next time. If you're getting long lap time here at Le Mans, so you need to come in. If you don't come in, it's a long way back around before you make it back to pit lane another time. So Welker in the lead, Syandra in second, Carter Kundinger in third, Paul Darling in fifth. And remember, we said that Paul Darling has to finish. He loses the championship if he finishes fifth or worse, and that's if Carter Kundinger is in the lead. Currently, Carter Kundinger in third place, just outside of that. And even in general, Darling's made up some decent time. 6 seconds back from the lead. He was almost 12 seconds. Just a few minutes, just a few laps ago. DJ though, he's been kind of struggling. He's 18 seconds back. I'm not sure what's going on with the number 3 machine, but I don't think DJ too big a fan of Le Mans. And we were actually doing an interview with him for the Super Trofeo series and mentioned just bought this track on Monday, so also hasn't had a lot of practice in iRacing at the very least. So he's been trying to get used to this circuit.
Yeah, he was pretty vocal about his dislike for this track, but I'd be interested to talk to him when everything's done here tonight about his Super Trofeo race, because I don't know how you have the race that he had with Kundinger there and come out of it still disliking and thinking that
he may like it from the dislike it from the prototype. So let's see if that'll kind of balance it out.
That sour taste back in his mouth now.
Riding on board with Carter Kundinger here. Yeah, he's almost 200 miles an hour. You're entering the Porsche curves. You see Welker and Andres side by side through said curves as they get very close to each other, almost turning one another. Inches away from each other as Andre's going to keep the lead ahead of Welker. But oh boy, it's getting on, and we still got over half the race left to go, and I am curious to see as we now approach the pit lane again, do we have any takers? Welker and Carter Kundinger in, but Cy Andres staying out another lap.
How close is he? He's going to be pretty close to the half-hour mark. I'm wondering if he's going to do what he can to try to save fuel and try to make this on one stop rather than coming back in.
Yeah, we are estimated to have 17 laps. Now, if you run 8, that's half the battle. You would have to run 9 laps the next run. And depending on how close you are, that may be doable or may not be doable. Again, long lap time here, so making it that extra lap is a lot harder. Compared to some other circuits. So I imagine that he feels good. Either that, or he's just planning on coming in with maybe a lap or two to go and just getting a splash of fuel. That's an interesting strategy because you in some situations you want to stay in the draft as majority of the field. In fact, I think every other driver has come down to pit lane now.
Yeah, that really makes me question how Syandra is so confident about going this extra lap.
Oh, Montello. Slow through the Ford chicanes for a second. I think he had to give up slowdown. I was going to say he's going to fly through the pit straight now, see how many positions he gained or lost. I think he's definitely going to lose some. He's actually going to go flying past Paul Darling there. And going to be back in behind Mitch Welker. So this is actually not too bad of a call. Did lose some time though, so yeah, I reckon his lap. No, sorry, that was his out lap. That's why he was slow. But lost some time through the last sector, definitely with that slowdown. So here's Carter Kundinger, who will cycle out to be a race leader. Mitch Welker, Anthony Montello will be our top 3. Here comes Paul Darling trying to change that, put himself into effectively third place once his teammate up in front decides to come in. So this is a really interesting strategy, especially considering the 2 teammates didn't decide to go on the same strategy. Syandra with the risky call and is out of the championship fight. He's back in 4th place, so no chance for him to get the championship, but just trying to get a race win at this point. And Andrew's had some interesting races, to say the least, at least the ones that I've covered on SimTV. Thinking back to Road America and Road Atlanta, where he had to start from the back or had a very poor race 1. And had to claw his way back up forward from the back of the pack, and on many occasions did so and up inside the top 5. But this time started up near the front of the field and is running away with it, but also on an unorthodox strategy. Do you think he could pull it off?
Syandra?
Yeah, do you think he could pull this off, or do you think he's going to run out of gas?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't do enough running here this week, knowing that I wasn't going to be racing it, to really know how far you can go. I am, as I mentioned, surprised that he went this far. The only reason that, in my mind, you would push it this far is if you were planning on saving fuel and not having to come in a second time. Otherwise, I don't see the point in pushing it to just to this close to the halfway mark before coming in.
Well, you just saw Paul Darling work past Montello for 4th place. Now here comes battle for 2nd place. Welker looking to the inside of Carter Kundinger. They're going to sort it out before they get to Indianapolis. Carter Kundinger not in a mood to fight. Just wants to sort this out and run away with it, especially because he's got Paul Darling breathing down his neck.
So while things seem to have calmed down here, I have some updates about the Super Trofeo series. Earlier tonight had their finale. Starting with the simple stuff first. I want to congratulate AOD Racing Red on their overall team championship, beating out AOD Racing Green and Project 2 in the overall team standings. In the AM Cup team standings, Project 2 comes home with the championship there over Wichita SCCA Racing and Can-Am Racing. Now on to the Drivers' Championship. We have, as we mentioned, pretty easy coming into the night. DJ Alessandrini absolutely crushing the season, coming home with the overall Drivers' Championship there over Carter Kundinger and Zach Buchanan, your top 3 in the overall Drivers' Championship. And now for the hectic part of the night. As we mentioned throughout the broadcast, the lead for the championship kept changing throughout the race and changed once more once we went off the air as things happened at the end of the race there. So Carter Kundinger, with that off track through the final chicane with DJ Alessandrini, ended up receiving an iRacing assessed time penalty, about 40 seconds or so added on to his race time. That put him in the 5th position rather than 2nd or 1st position, where he actually crossed the line in 1st, which means that Kyle Lamb ended up actually finishing in 3rd position as opposed to 4th with Ryan Plord finishing in 7th. So along with those new results, which are unofficial as of now, and all of these standings are technically unofficial until later in the week when we get through and cover everything we've got to cover. With the new results and the bonus points for 0 incidences and everything else that goes into your points earned for the race, Kyle Lamb has actually been named your unofficial AM Cup Drivers' Championship winner for the Super Trofeo Series, and we'll see if we can get an interview with him after this prototype race is over, so that we can correct our mistake. And when post-race we had interviewed Ryan Plord as the championship winner and Kyle Lamb as 2nd place. So hectic prototype, Super Trofeo race earlier with this AM Cup standings, and it was so close that it legitimately took about 10 minutes after the race finished for us to solidify who the champion should actually be. So congratulations to Kyle Lamb and Ryan Plord, Brian Zabelski for their top 3 finishing positions in the AM Cup Championship for Super Trofeo.
Yeah, and I think I think almost kind of fitting in a way that that championship even had to sort itself out after the checkered flag had flown, considering the way it played out in the race. But coming back to the action on the track here, Cyandra came back out of the pits and just in behind our leaders. You can see him in frame there, tagging in behind Carter Kundinger. This is going to be important to see here. Oh, you can even hear him. He's actually gotten out on the clutch. He's clutching it at the end of the straight. He's trying to make this work. So I'm
glad somebody is, to be honest, because it's only going to make it more interesting for us.
He did it. Wow, he did it on the run down on the next quarter. So he's trying everything he can. I think he might be getting a little bit too greedy here.
He's probably, to be fair, he's probably the most experienced in these cars. This is kind of Cyandra's specialty. So if anyone can pull it off and knows exactly how to and how much he needs to save to pull it off, it's going to be Cyandra.
Yeah, I think that's why he felt so confident making this strategy work. But yeah, he's going to have to save as much as he can over this next stint. He's got to save essentially a lap's worth of fuel. It was already kind of close beforehand, but imagine it's going to save an extra lap of fuel on top of that. It's going to be interesting to see if he can pull it off. So these guys are a little bit wide there, but Carter Kundinger now is just a matter of him getting his head down, trying to catch back up to Mitch Welker. Welker looking like he can run away with the race here.
Yeah, Mitch Welker finds himself in one of the few races he's competed in this season, leading here at Le Mans, the season finale, and running away, trying to at least, from Carter Kundinger and Cy Andra and Paul Darling. Now, in terms of the overall championship, with Paul Darling running in the 4th position, he's in that position where he would win the championship no matter what Carter Kundinger does. So as long as Paul doesn't make any more mistakes, as he has earlier in this race, it looks like he's going to be in a pretty good position for the next half hour to come home as your championship winner.
Yeah, a little bit of sidestep there. He is struggling a little bit in some of these corners. I think he's been really lacking with consistency at this track overall, which we normally don't see as a problem for Darling. So, having some growing pains this race. Remember, had that spin earlier as well after colliding with the back of his teammate in the first Mulsanne chicane. Was able to claw his way back up into 4th, and as you mentioned, is safe for the championship lead regardless of what happens, should he stay in this spot.
Yeah, it looks like Paul is going to have it pretty in grab.
Cy Andra actually decided to let Darling back on by. And did Andrew? Oh, sorry. I was losing track on the blue cards. I thought Andrew missed the corner there for a second, but yeah, he's just pulling off, trying to take a toe from his teammate now to make the strategy work. What is Darling slowing down, trying to help him?
I don't know. He might feel comfortable with where he is in the running order.
It looked like he was kind of losing time to Carter Kundinger on the straightaway, which you don't typically see. So, I mean, usually you try to give a toe to your teammate. Not necessarily, slow it down, trying to help them to save gas, but let's see if these guys can make it work. And I mean, for Paul, he doesn't have really too much to lose by doing this. So we'll see if that works out for them. There you can see the background out of Mulsanne corner. We find Anthony Martello, after losing some time on his outlap from the pits, lost touch with the leaders. He's now trying to have to hold off a charging Mo Islam in behind.
Just got word that Cy Andra actually had a slowdown penalty, which is why he had to give the position to Paul Darling. But, I mean, if you're trying to make it work on fuel, then you're not hating these slowdown penalties, I guess.
No, technically they help you, although that being said, it's the extent, because if you slow down too much, you're going to lose the draft. That's the thing that Andrew really needs over everything else.
He does need that, but at the same time, he's not too far enough back from the field that they're going to be able to make up the time if they have to make a second pit stop, and he doesn't. So, Cy Andra, if he can make it without having to pit again, is going to be the winner of this race, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, essentially, everyone's gonna have to spend about a minute down on pit lane, really 54 seconds to be exact. So that's a gap that essentially Andrew has to work with, and he could potentially try to fuel save. But I think as long as he's got the draft from these guys, he's gonna use it as much as he can to fuel save. And then when they eventually do come into pit, which could really be from any point from now in the next 5 or so laps. We could see these guys coming back down into pit lane. He can then try to focus on just saving and using that gap that he's built up to his advantage. Out of the final corner, Martello running wide. Here comes Mo Islam. Going to potentially make it side by side here down the front straightaway. Martello defending left. He's going to stay ahead, cut Islam off as they headed to the Dunlop chicane. Ooh, Kyle Lamb down on pit lane. Thought he had an issue, but is getting his second pit stop out of the way.
Yeah, he should be able to make it from here.
7 laps left to go in this race. It's Mitch Welker in the lead ahead of Carter Kundinger, Paul Darling, Cy Andra, Martello, your top 5. And I think now, I'm not sure now is really a better time than any. I was alluding to it earlier, but what SCRS has got in store for next season?
Yeah, so next season we're gonna do a little bit of both when it comes to something familiar and something new, as to keep with our uh, doing things new, as both of these series were new for this year. Next season, we'll be introducing for the first time the SCRS Pro 2000 series, utilizing the Indy Pro 2000, the PM18 car on iRacing, to run an open-wheeled fixed setup series in a two-race format. That'll be our opening series for our Thursday night events, followed by the return of the much loved and anticipated and asked for Porsche Super Cup, which we ran for the first time last year, about this same time of year, which will be our first venture into an open setup category of racing. For the first time, we'll be doing an open setup series with the Porsche Super Cup. They'll also have the same two-race format that the Indy Pro 2000 series will have for next season. And we should have a schedule graphic to put up and go over the schedule announcement for where we'll be racing at next season.
Oh yeah, I just realized I'm not showing you my OBS feed. I think that's why I can't see it at the moment. I do have it up on the screen for everyone at home watching.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're heading to Barbercoda. Actually, let me see if I can change it so you can actually take a look at it. But that's not the right one. Where's OBS? I'm trying to find it. You would think I know what I'm doing by now.
This is why SCRS is shutting down, guys. It's just, the quality, the producing has just fallen off the face of the earth like it's a flat earth out here.
There we go. That's the screen that that Eric should be looking at.
Oh, off track again. But going over the schedule, once again, this is a schedule put together by mostly the league's voting system to decide what tracks will be on the schedule. We'll head to Barber Motorsports Park, I believe, for the first time. I don't know if we've ever raced there before, but it was very popular on our polling. Is that Mitch Welker off track?
Yeah, he is and actually, let's pull that away just for a second here and take a look at what happened to him. This is in the final corner. He is out there for quite a while. Oh, dismounted the penultimate corner, curbing, and went flying off into the tire barrier. So he lost the lead and then some. That's gonna be a costly mistake for Welker. So Carter Kundinger now in the lead of this race, having to defend from Paul Darling.
Paul Darling behind him in second.
Yeah, I think at this point, I think Carter's just kind of hoping to get at least a race win out of this event. Might not be able to get the championship, but at least keep that 155, at least from taking the championship and the win away from him.
He unfortunately found himself in the same position that he was in the Super Trofeo series, being the chasing car in the championship and having to run down or stay ahead of the championship leader, but still not going to be enough to take the championship if that is the case and that's the finishing order. But the finish just running through, and we don't got to bring up the graphic because I got it up here for me, but here we go. Following through, we'll head to Circuit of the Americas, which I'm also not sure if we've ever been to before in SCRS. So that will be on the schedule. We'll head to Homestead Miami Speedway for a Roval event, keeping a little bit of a unique novelty event on the schedule for that. Hockenheim, as it has just been added to iRacing very recently, will make its debut in SCRS in Season 2 of 2021. We'll head to Monza after that on June 17th, and that'll be, this time, will be the Grand Prix course, not the full oval included course, the combined circuit as we ran this season. Then we'll head to Spain for the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, for another round there. Very popular round last year when we went there with the Porsche Super Cup. Then we'll head to the Nürburgring, and I believe that's going to be on the Grand Prix circuit, but there was discussion about it being moved to the Nordschleife, so we'll have to verify that moving forward, but definitely going to be racing at the Nürburgring, followed by Mount Panorama at Bathurst, which should be really exciting to do in the Pro 2000 open wheel cars. See how those things get around there. Then we'll head to the streets of Detroit on July 22nd for a street course around Belle Isle, and finishing the championship on July 29th at Virginia International Raceway back here in the United States. One of my favorite racetracks, to be honest, so I'm super excited that that one is on the schedule. It was a very popular and much requested track to be on the schedule. And I think we have the perfect set of cars to go there with it. And as I said before, the Pro 2000s cars will be fixed setup. The Porsche Super Cups will be open setups and will be once again returning and racing on Thursday nights beginning May 20th. For anyone interested, look up Sim Championship Racing Series on the iRacing League's page, or reach out to myself, Eric Mickey, on iRacing, and look for the posts coming up in the next couple of weeks as we have a bit of an off season before we get there. But always welcoming new competitors, and we're all super excited about what we're doing for next season, getting back to a little bit more of the traditional SCRS format and car selection.
Yes, thank you for that little spiel there, Eric. Looking forward to running it next season. Particularly in the open wheel cars. I'm not particularly good at the 911s, but I'll try my best.
Well, we're having you join us on the grid.
Yes.
Oh, that's going to be lots of fun.
Hopefully for all the right reasons, hopefully not for all the wrong reasons.
No, all for the good reasons. But yeah, that's part of what we're trying to do for next season is line up a replacement broadcast as SCRS, as I don't know if it has been mentioned on streams yet, but has officially announced that that SimTV, I mean, is taking a step back from a lot of the series that they're covering, and so we'll be losing them. I want to have a nice little message to talk to you and Kyle at the end of the night for about our relationship through all this, and we appreciate the SimTV relationship with SCRS since basically both of us starting our iRacing careers at the same time with these versions of what we're doing. So this has been a fun ride. I'm looking forward though to what we're doing next season with the league, and looking forward to these last 5 laps of this race as Paul Darling has taken over the lead from Carter Kundinger, Syandra, and Mitch Welker.
Yeah, and Darling, we saw take the lead away from Carter Kundinger in Indianapolis last lap through, and is slowly building a gap, running a little bit wide in that second chicane though, and Carter Kundinger though does the same thing as well, and Syandra now breathing down to his neck. We saw Anthony Botello, he went into his pit stall, was actually trying to maneuver his way in, lost some time around 10 seconds down a pit road trying to get himself in his box properly, so it's not been particularly good for Botello. Has been making a few mistakes here and there, but still a decent run overall for the 24 car. Might still have a chance to be further up, and indeed the highest running car of the drivers out of pit. In fact, Kyle Lamb, right behind him, has also made his second pit stop. So both these drivers are good to the end. Everyone else, save for Syandra, as far as we know, have to make a second pit stop. Looking Carter getting very close to the back bumper. Sorry about that.
Oh no, it's fine. If they run it while it's empty, the final pit stops in the gravel there. These pit stops could come in the last couple minutes of this race, so we'll see when people decide to come in. But yeah, if Syandra pulls this off, he's going to easily take home this win if he doesn't have to come down pit road and doesn't run out of fuel on the last lap.
Curious to hear if he's still saving in that car. We heard him on the clutch earlier. That was in the first run that was the beginning of the run trying to save some gas.
I mean, if you know that you have about a minute of time that everyone else is going to be sitting on pit road for, he can slow up a lot more than he has been if he wants to.
Yeah, looks like he's trying to catch up to Paul Darling to catch his draft. Indeed, he actually has game time. But before entering the first curves, he was about 1.6 seconds, now down to 1.4 seconds back. So he's been closing up to Darling, so I think it's safe to say he's not saving. I'm not sure that's a good thing or a bad thing, or maybe there could be a chance he might have just decided to abandon that strategy, which, I mean, it's not too late to bail out of that now. He doesn't have to be committed to making it all the way to the end. He's still got the leaders right in front of him. He could decide to pit with them.
Yeah, with the way that he's approached racing, especially with his teammate Paul, they very much like to settle things on track, heads up between the two of them. So that might be a decision that he makes, that it might be more fun for him to go head-to-head with Paul rather than try and win it on fuel here, but we'll see what happens at the end of the race for him.
Yeah, Also, one point, Mike clearly letting the leaders on by, didn't want to interfere with their battle, pulling off to the side of the track. They will continue their fight. Montello and Lamb also about to go at it. Oh, Montello drifting out really wide, gonna have to throw it back. You gotta be very careful through the Porsche curves. You have to, because you're flying it here at such a high rate of speed. If you don't hit the corner right, you're gonna be off the track and potentially into a wall.
Speaking of off into the wall, as we saw what happened with Jackson Robillard earlier, looks like he had some stuttering and freezing issues that caused him that off and into the wall that he had earlier in his race, and that took him out of the chances for...
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. Oh, and mid-gliding. Wow. But yeah, unfortunate when anything like that happens. We've seen Buchanan have a few hardware issues. Owen Farrell had a software problem or a hardware problem a couple weeks ago, and yeah, they seem to be striking the field at random times and kind of wreaking havoc on some of our races here. But this is what you're dealing with when you're dealing with technology, I guess.
I'm throwing it to the inside as he heads through the second Mulsanne chicane. He's going to blow through. They're going to have to yield for Mitch Welker. Went flying at it over 200 miles an hour, trying to seal the deal on the 77, and they're back side by side again. Looks like he's going to pull back in behind Welker. Welker going to work his way on through. Gap up in front. These guys, I'm kind of amazed that Carter Cundring has not been able to stay more in touch with these guys.
I thought he would have had a great pace. I mean, I think he had. We saw the pace that he had in the Super Trofeo series, but we've seen just how fast Paul Darling and Syandra are all season long. So.
Yeah, and when you put it like that, it shouldn't be too surprising, but especially at a track so draft-dependent like Le Mans, I think he would have been able to stick a little bit closer, but he's starting to slowly lose touch of that draft, and that's only going to make things worse for the 0-2. Trying to chase down Paul Darling, championship leader, and leading this race. And I'm honestly a little surprised that Darling is leading this race, considering what the troubles we saw him, the multitude of troubles we saw him go through early in the race. Start all the way back in 16th, was the last position of the invert, with points being set, qualifying being set by points, with the invert, normal invert, P16 invert that we get. So had to claw his way back up the order, also spun as he's now making his way down the pit lane. He spun and still climbed his way back up to the top of the order on pace alone. So it's been a very impressive run for Darling. And I think, you know, if he wins the race in the championship, I think you can definitely say he's earned it.
Yeah, but I think, once again, the problem is going to be winning the race, because if Andra is able to pull off this fuel-saving strategy, he's not going to have to pit, and he's going to beat the winner easily.
I'm more with Andrew a little bit, just to hear what he's doing in the car. Because the last lap or two that we've been on more with him, I don't think he's been saving. He's been trying to push, and that's a sign to me that he's just kind of going out until the tank runs out, and might have to come in a last lap or so to maybe splash and go. But I don't know. I'm curious to see what he's got in store, because unless it may have not been as close as we thought, saving that extra lap. Maybe he saved enough, then feels that he's good.
It's possible. If anybody out here is going to have any of the third-party software that allows you to know what exactly your situation is on fuel, it's going to be Sai. So he might already know exactly if he's good to go or not, and it's just us who are in the dark until we get there.
Yeah, and I should say also, honestly, I'm not paid by these guys at all, but I mean, there's one that I know, RaceLab Apps. They have a fuel calculator app that'll show you on screen how much fuel you're burning, and you'll get estimated numbers based off of that. Even Crew Chief, for that matter, which is another free third-party software, Crew Chief will do the calculation for you and tell you by ear how you're doing and how much you have left, how much you need to refuel, and all that. So I'm honestly surprised that more drivers don't have that kind of stuff, because it's so useful to have computers do the math for you and you not having to worry about it in your head.
I'd be completely lost if I wasn't using JRT, which is another option out there for you.
Yes.
But I'd be completely lost without having JRT. Anytime I'm in iRacing, I have that up to make sure that I know where I'm at and how much fuel is required.
That being said, though, you have to be a little bit careful because computers they mess up. I think was it last week, I was in an IndyCar race, and crew chief decided I only needed an extra lap of fuel.
Yeah, because you had like a very quick pit stop, and then you were like, "Oh, that was a very quick pit stop. I wonder why."
I was like, "Oh wow, I'm going to get out in front of everyone by a little bit," and there was a reason for that because I didn't get enough gas in the tank. It only decided I needed 3 liters of fuel, and I needed about 45 liters to finish the race. So, first time it ever had an error. Most of the time, 99.9%
something went wrong.
99.9% of the time it's good, but that 0.1% of the time caught me out and right in the midst of a championship battle. So it was not ideal, to say the least, but most of the time it does its job.
Coming up on 6 minutes remaining, Syandra in the lead, trying to make this on 1 stop. Everybody behind having to make it on at least 2. As Paul Darling in 2nd place, Carter Kundinger 3rd, Mo Islam 4th, and Derek Rolleveld in 5th. Nothing to speak of in terms of your Am Cup championship, as Corey Bunch is running in 12th place, and his closest competitor, Ryan Plord, is
behind him in 13th.
So everybody who's closest to him in the Am Cup championships is currently running behind him. And so that is not going to be an issue for him at all.
Yeah, so he's got to just pretty much relatively smooth sailing till the end of this race just to make sure he finishes in one piece, which I shouldn't think is too hard of a issue for Corey Bunch. He's been running a pretty solid season. As we look at Drew Lidke, and Lidke, remember, leading this race for a decent amount early on until his spin in the second Mulsanne chicane led the first 3 laps of this race. Now trying to work on Sarah Tessem to break back inside the top 10. Will sail past into Indianapolis. Now all eyes setting, never mind, I was going to say all eyes setting on Syandra to see what he's got up his sleeve. And well, it was a short pit stop that he had up his sleeve. Only 7 seconds down in the box compared to 12.5 seconds for Paul Darling and 15 seconds for Carter Kundinger. And there you can see the gap that he bought himself. There's Paul Darling. A lot further back is Carter Kundinger. He's really dropped off the pace now, 6 seconds behind Paul Darling. So it's now up to Darling to see if he can get back to Andrew. And I hope for Andrew that he's fueled the car enough to at least push it these last 2 laps.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to that time to figure out if he's done what he needs to do to make it to the end here.
Both these guys. Oh, did Darling? Okay, never mind. That was just the camera angle. Sounded like he got off the gas there for a second. Had to give up some time, but he's all good to go. Derek Roldel, I think, just had a bit of an issue. I think I'm just losing my mind, actually. I thought I saw his thing hit 0 for a second, our timing and scoring, so I thought he had an issue. But he's still continuing on having a very solid run in 5th place this race.
This is the longest race we've had all season. Longest race, I think, in SCRS history, to be honest. And it hasn't felt that way, if I'm honest about that. It's been kind of flying by as Paul Darling has gone by Syandra.
Ooh.
I wonder if Cy has realized he wasn't going to make it and had to give up time. Or did Cy pit?
No, Cy did pit. Cy came into the pits and came out of the pits this lap. But I'd be amazed if he didn't fill it up enough. He went in for 7 seconds, which isn't a lot, but I mean, he only needed 2 laps of gas.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, unless, once again, it's just these two playing around and wanting to race heads up rather than have a gap between them, but,
I mean, I guess, but I mean, like, it seemed like he, I don't know, this...
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Did he have
like to race heads up with each other? Did
he have a black? Oh, he gets really close into Mulsanne corner. Did he have an off track or a slowdown when we were not looking at him?
Possible. I mean, it's very easy to catch yourself out, get something a little bit wrong, and have a slowdown. But
either way, we're gonna have a battle on our hands. It's actually gonna be a three-way fight. Andrew's able to bring a draft back to Carter Kundinger and be able to resume yet again.
We can tell who's in the lead.
Yeah, I know. This is the worst case scenario. 3 blue cars all duking it out. Oh, and side by side for the teammates up in front. And it's going to be Syandra that works his way on through. Paul Darling's going to run a little bit wide, collect a little bit of gravel back on the track. Darling looks like he's going to work his way back clear of Syandra, and here comes Carter Kundinger now, nose to tail here with a little over a lap left to go. Now flying towards the Porsche curves. And these guys are going to rely on what downforce they have left with this low downforce trim they got on here for Le Mans. You see side by side Andra and Darling. It's going to get very close quarters here through this section of track. Darling in second, Carter Kundinger in third, trying to look for an opening. Andra going to be leading them back to the line, but only by a few tenths of a second. The battle's far from over. And here they go into the Ford chicanes. They'll come out of it, and they will see the white flag in the air. We got one more lap left to go for these drivers, nose to tail here. Any one of these top three have a shot. You see Paul Darling flashing the headlights to Syandra, telling him battle's on.
And we're going to see as they start the last lap if these three come together and have one hell of a drafting battle for this lap, as Syandra has retaken the lead over Paul Darling, Carter Kundinger in third. Anything goes wrong for Darling, and he could be throwing his championship away, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be a big thing. You can't just completely force the issue, because remember, he does still have to... we were talking about if Carter Kundinger does finish in first, he has to finish no worse than fifth. But even if Paul completely crashes out, that's going to give it to Carter Kundinger. I think that's what Carter's kind of hoping for. Can't imagine for Paul he would throw it away like that. We've seen him many times in a situation where it's high-intensity battles for the lead. Usually he's kept it calm and collected, but we'll see here. He's made a few mistakes early in the race, and we'll see what he's going to do on his teammate here. Got to run down towards the Forest Mulshaw chicane. I don't think he's going to do anything this time by. But the second one, though, is where he's really got a shot. Looking out from the back of Syandra here. Darling going to get a massive slipstream down the straightaway, almost 10-mile-an-hour difference. As he starts to close back up, the flash of the headlights as well. And breaking into the corner.
Like this is just a chess match, and Paul Darling's just pondering his best move to make it happen. I think Paul might be thinking that the best move would be to make the move into the right and take the corner in Indianapolis and try to make it happen there and not give Andrew the opportunity to come back at him.
Yeah, I think that's what he might be trying to do here. He's fairly close though, so not going to get too big of a run. See Andrew serving down the straightaway, trying to defend, not give him an opening. And Darling's going to get an opening, though, on the left-hand side of track. Here they go side by side. Darling going to be ahead by half a car length here as they approach the kink. And now in Indianapolis, neither driver yield. We've seen a lot of give and take, but Andrew trying to work it on the outside, going to clip a little bit of gravel, going to still keep it in. Is going to be back by about half a car length. Is still going to keep it up the inside, though.
These two, you got to remember, these two did hit each other a couple times last week at Spa, and caused big problems between the two of them, at least on the racetrack in their running order. So let's see what happens as they head up to the Porsche curves.
Drag race down the straightaway as they head to the Porsche curves, neck and neck. It's going to be an advantage to the car on the inside. That's Andra, and Darling now going to be back on the inside here, heading through the Porsche curves for the final time. Darling gets put back in behind. He's now got one more shot trying to deal with the understeer.
I think that's going to be it for Syandra.
Oh, he's got a decent run. Andrew gave up a little bit of momentum here. It's the run down towards the Ford chicanes. A few more corners left. Here they go, a complex of corners left separating both these drivers from victory. Who's going to get there first? Through the final corner is going to be Syandra. That'll take the win here at Le Mans. Paul Darling having to settle for second place in the race, but will take home the overall championship. Carter Kundinger will finish in third and second place in the championship. Great fight from these three drivers. A little bit further on back, sliding out of the final corner, it's going to be Mo Islam taking fourth place. As he makes it safely across the line, and Derek Rovald, all the way back in fifth, will take home, finish your top five. Now you have to look a little bit further back. Sir Thunder Thimble II, also known as Corey Bunch, ran a fairly solid race. None of his other competitors have been able to touch him. If he can just make it through the final complex in one piece, he will take home the AM Cup champion. Looks like he's going to line up for also a little bit of a celebratory victory. He's going to just take it nice and slow through here, not take it any harder than he needs to. And there he works across the line. Corey Bunch, your AM Cup winner.
So, Cyandra takes home the win.
Oh.
Some explosions happening.
That was a great time to cut to them. Having some celebrations, and so very particular way. I'm amazed this car is actually not smoking from that.
Paul Darling will be your overall champion, with Corey Bunch being your AM Cup champion. Congratulations to the both of them.
And taking a look at your race results there, your top 10, but you had some very solid racing from these guys. So give them a little bit more time to finish and celebrate here before we go to the interviews. But yeah, some great stuff between Andra, Darling, Carter Cunningham, and I know it wasn't his race, but DJ Alcindrino finishing back in 8th. Those four are some great battles this season between all four of those guys. And as we take a look at our top 10, I think we'll cut to just a short little break just to finalize some stuff up, grab some drivers to interview, and we'll be right back, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Le Mans here. We're going to go over your race results here in just a little bit. Let's get your drivers to interview. We're going to first kick it off. We're going to be talking to Kyle Lamb. Kyle, you got a copy?
What? Oh my god, wait, what? I just won?
Yeah, so as it turned out, so after what happened at the end of the last race, with Carter Cunningham getting a time penalty that actually shoved you up into third place, just gave you enough points, and you are the AM champion.
I had no idea or no intention of even winning that race or anything like that. I was just out there for fun. Well, that makes up for losing by 1 point in the Super Trofeo, but No, that was I honestly thought I had no chance after I got caught up in a little bit of an incident there at the start of the race. But no, I'm really happy about that, and I'm over the moon.
Oh, no, that's what we're talking about.
For Super Trofeo. Sorry, I should have mentioned that.
Oh, I thought it was this. I was just like, what? Oh, that's okay. No, that's awesome.
I mean, if you don't want it, we can take it back from you.
I'm sure Ryan Cord would absolutely take the championship back.
No, I'll take that. No, but that was it was a fun LMP2 race. That was I felt like I had quite a bit of pace there. It was a bit of a shame that I again didn't start up the front. But I would just like to thank my my team for all the support this season. Zach, Mitch, Sarah, anyone else that I've forgotten, and I hope to see everyone back next season.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to next season as well. Kyle, thanks for talking to us, and congrats on your AM Cup Championship in Super Trofeo.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
All right, no problem. And now to the AM Cup champion for the Prototype Challenge. It is Corey Bunch, also by his alias Thunder Thimble, the second in this race. Yes. And congrats on your AM Cup Championship.
Thank you, appreciate it, man. It's huge. I mean, I can't believe it. So just real happy right now.
Yeah, no, definitely don't blame you for being, unfortunately for myself, I haven't been in that kind of situation for quite a while, but you walk us through your race. It wasn't too quite, I don't want to say it was a boring race, but you're pretty much back in the midfield. How did you manage to just keep your other competitors in behind you, especially because a lot of them ended up finishing around you?
Yeah, that was just the main goal, just try to have Ryan and the others just around, because that was really my main focus, was just making sure where he was at, because that was really my competition for the most part. So I didn't care about trying to finish in the top 10 or getting a win or anything like that. It's just being as close to him as I could, and just trying to be able to seal the deal. And luckily I did. I didn't mess up too much, and brought the car home in one piece. So.
Yeah, and congratulations on your automatic promotion to the pro category for next season.
There's the caveat. well, whatever it is, whatever happens for you next season, Corey, congrats on your AM Cup Championship.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate all you do, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
And moving on to our third place finisher in this race, and also second place finisher in the championship, Carter Kundinger. Carter, you came up penny lane and $1 short in both championships, unfortunately, but definitely had a fantastic run till the end for it.
Oh, I tried so hard, Finian. There's nothing in the tank anymore. So yeah, I mean, just tonight, I mean, Paul inside just had the pace over me. I made way too many mistakes tonight, just tiny little errors. That's really all that did it tonight. Yeah, I mean, I knew I needed a couple miracles to happen in order to coming into tonight in order to secure the championship. But hey, I mean, I can't complain. Second place is still pretty darn good, especially amongst the mix of guys here like Paul, DJ, and Sai. I mean, they're all top of their class, and it's honestly pretty fun. It was pretty fun just to, run around them and even beat them here or there.
All right, well, Carter unfortunately wasn't the championship, but still very solid runs this season amongst Paul, Sai, and even DJ. You guys had some great fights throughout this season, entertaining to watch. Hopefully to see you battling some more next season.
Yeah, thank you, Finian. Thank you all season, so I really do appreciate it.
All right, moving on. Next, we'll talk to Sai Andrew first, our race winner for tonight. And Sai, we actually thought, I'm actually curious to hear from your mouth. Were you trying to pull off a one-stop strategy?
Yes, but apparently my brain malfunctioned right before the race, and I thought it was a 1 hour race and not a 17th lap race. So I was not expecting to have to do 17 instead of 16 laps, but obviously you know the rest. It happened, and then I realized that about halfway through the second stint when Paul pointed it out to me when we were on chat together. And then you can probably tell I started pushing after that.
Oh yeah, we could definitely tell. We were trying to figure out why, because we saw you clutching and coasting into a lot of the corners. Are like, wow, he's really trying to save that extra lap of gas, and then we come back to you, and you're actually catching back up to Paul. So we figured you're pretty much abandoning that strategy, but either way, it worked out for you. And then also wanted to ask too. We saw you came out of the pits with a little bit of a lead, but then you ended up losing that lead. You looks like you let Paul Darling pass. Did you get a slowdown?
Well, kind of. I wanted, like, we were all in the same chat, and I know Carter was up for it as well because we talked on the radio a little bit. We wanted to give you guys a show, so we all got the top 3 together because we were all really close in pace, and I didn't want the strategy to kind of make the end of the race boring. So I kind of slowed down, Paul slowed down, we let Carter catch up, and then we all had a big fight at the end.
Oh, that was nice. That was nice. Well, it definitely played out that way. It was an absolutely awesome fight to watch between you guys. Props to you for doing that, because honestly, if it was me, I would have ran with it and just tried to take the win. But even despite doing that, you still came up on top, so that's definitely nice to see.
Absolutely, it was a good it was a good final lap with Paul for certain. Like I know for certain if he pushed a little bit harder in forced curves, it would have been much closer than it was. He told me himself he was watching the replay after the race, and he said he had so much more space than he thought he did. So maybe next time we find ourselves in that position, he'll take it to the finish line. Yeah,
we'll have to see. But Sai, congrats on your win here at Le Mans.
Thank you.
And moving on, last but certainly not least, Paul Darling, your overall champion in the Prototype Challenge Series. Paul, a fantastic drive, not only in this race, which I gotta hand it to you, was a very impressive drive, to not only start back from 16th, but also spin, have a few incidents, and then still drive your way back up to the front, and then also just overall keeping it consistent, walking away with the championship.
Yeah, that last race was more interesting than should have been. I was trying to stay on Sai's tail the whole time, and then lap 1, obviously that unraveled with the massive stack up, and then I just got into the back of him when people were braking in an acceleration zone, and I was trying to look at behind me and not get rear-ended, so it was a little too much. But yeah, it was a fun race to come back, and Sai would have won easily, but we decided to have some fun at the end, and hope it was entertaining.
Oh, yeah, he was telling us, and it was really entertaining to watch you guys absolutely duke it out. Do you think, speaking of that last lap and a half, with you coming up just a little bit short, you think there's anything you could have done differently, or were you just trying to make sure you didn't take all 3 of you guys out?
Yeah, I should have gone for it in the Porsche curves there. So you went side by side through the first right-hander and then the left-hander. Since that is not a move you really practice, going too wide through the Porsche curves. I definitely overslowed. Wish I'd sent it now, but if I'd sent it, I think we would have died. So it's hard to say, but I think it would have been a lot more interesting if I had sent it.
Yeah, definitely probably would have been, but either way, still a very solid race that you guys gave us, a show for the people watching at home, and a solid second place to you, and a championship in your hand as well.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for doing the commentary today.
No problem. And with that, it's going to be wrapping up interviews here from Le Mans, as well as the championship finishers, and that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Final words for you, Eric?
Yeah, that was, Super Trofeo obviously was a barn burner from start to end there with the way the championships were working out and close. And obviously crazy results there that weren't even finished until after the race was finished itself. Then coming into prototypes, obviously we had bigger margins for everything, so a little bit calmer on the championship status there, but the racing on track, as we just heard about that 3-car battle for the win, was close all the way through and for the full 60 minutes. And I don't think you can really ask for too much more from your drivers there, and for a season finale to send off these cars and into a hiatus until if we ever get back to them. But beyond that, some wonky stuff throughout the season, but we all worked hard, got through it, had maintained the field that we were looking for, and overall another success. And just before we send off, this marks the end of the SimTV and SCRS relationship that started together. I don't even know, Finian, when did this start? How many years ago?
It started, it has been a while. It started early 2018.
So about 3 years or
3
so
years,
into
yeah.
this
Wow, that's a lot of time.
yes, of when SCRS started and you guys came along, wanting to break into sim racing broadcasting on YouTube, and came to us, and we just kind of both grew together through the 3 years, season after season, all of us improving on what we were doing, and it's been a great ride. And it's the end for now, as Sim TV, Kyle and everyone is taking a step back to focus on some other greater opportunities that have come our way. And Kyle's been sure to make sure that it's known that this isn't necessarily the end forever. Things could change in the future depending on how stuff plays out. And we are certainly always open to reigniting this relationship in the future, as we consider Sim TV our home for the Sim Championship Racing Series. And it's just been a fun 3 years to watch you guys grow and watch our league grow and be a part of both. And wish nothing but the best for Sim TV in the future and what Kyle's doing with it and doing with his own personal career. And of course, you're on to bigger and better things in your personal life as well. So hope everything goes smoothly and works out all the way around.
Yeah, and also really thank you. That was very touching. And also wanted to say thanks to you, Eric and Andrew, for again just as you mentioned, just kickstarting our careers back way back when. Otherwise, none of this would have been happening 3 years down the line. Especially for Kyle too, the amount of things that he's been able to pull off as well. All started back with you guys bringing us on for the SCRS Ferrari Challenge, all the way to early 2018. Season. That was fantastic. All these years to be covering you guys, and yeah, as you mentioned, just a slight little hiatus. Hopefully this does come back, because this series has produced some phenomenal racing over the years that we've covered it, and it's unfortunate to bring a stop doing it, but also looking forward to taking part in the racing for the next season that is coming up with the Pro 2000s and the Porsche Super Cups. But hopefully we'll be back. Hopefully it'll be even me and Kyle coming back. I'll have to see about that if my schedule allows it. Potentially me and Kyle coming back to cover this series like we used to do. But it's been a phenomenal ride, and just can't thank you guys enough for also deciding to stick with us all these years. But for now, I think that will wrap up coverage here of the SCRS LazyRocket Prototype Challenge here from Le Mans. After some phenomenal racing for tonight, we'll be calling it a broadcast. My name is Funikuna here with Eric Mickey, and we'll be signing out for tonight. Thank you for watching.